welcome Ms. Stuti Changle. The book Stars Will Guide You Home takes us on a journey of love, memories, and new connections in the digital age. She will be in conversation with Ms. Bindu, a bookstagrammer and literary content creator known as @bookworm Bindu. Can we have a huge round of applause for Ms. Bindu, a host, anchor and reviewer. She has moderated panels and conducted author interviews at literary festivals with a strong focus on literary fiction and Indian fiction. I request both of them to take the conversation forward. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction, and very good evening everyone for showing up today. So I will not take much time and I'll start this conversation with Stuti right away. So Stuti, I read somewhere that you left your corporate job and you thought that you want to start your writing venture. So what was that one moment when you thought that, okay, enough is enough, now I want to start my journey and I want to take it further?
Okay, so we've dived right into the question. We have a couple of lovely people here, and guys, can we just be a little more, if you are comfortable, come a little close. I want this to be like an intimate session, if it's okay with you, because itne logon mein ye possible hai, yeah? We can ask questions and be very, very, straight about what, and Bindu also, after the session, you keep some time so we can discuss, a lot more with the audience as well. Yeah? Okay, so taking up the first question, generally being an author, it's the first question that's specifically asked to me, that you were in such a good corporate career, what made you think about writing books? I always wanted to become a writer and I always wanted to write books. The whole thing is that I did not have any role model or any person to look up to. So basically you have engineers in your family, doctors in your family, but people pursuing arts is something which is kind of looked down upon. And not all of us sit with that privilege or come from those typical tier 1 cities like New Delhi itself, where the family might be very supportive and say, ja bachche ja, tu arts mein career pursue kar, right? How many of us have actually heard that? So for me, the journey was not really about leaving that job and starting this. That journey was very internal, in the sense, it was the point when I said, okay, I am not looking for external validation anymore. You like it, you don't like it, I want to be on this journey. Now, truth be told, the true side is that when you do something as crazy of this sort, and if you're not very prepared, your bank balance goes to zero, yeah? And when you see that message, you realize that yes, you were a rebel with a cause, of course, but the truth is bank balance. So yeah, I did take up a lot of freelance assignments and I did a lot of other things which is not so much documented, but I talk about it because I should know for anyone, if you're going to take that leap of faith, it should be calculated risk. It shouldn't be just jumping or diving in the water and then looking for a lifeboat, yeah? When you jump, you should have that lifeboat, it will help you. But one thing that I've learned is that if you persevere, okay, anything works out. A startup idea, a book, becoming an author. When I wrote my first book, I had no publisher by my side. And like right now, it's not me, it's Bindu, who said that I have 5 published books with HarperCollins, Penguin Random House India, and Audible Singapore. Yeah, and the other one is coming this year. So how did this happen? Through that internal validation where I said, I am just going to listen to this person who I look into the mirror and nobody else. मुझको लिखना है, मुझको करने का है, करेंगे. Very simple. Whoever becomes a part of that journey supports me. You're more than welcome and your thoughts are more than welcome. But I did set that boundary for myself where if people would come and try and pull me down, like some of my ex-colleagues, relatives, even a lot of friends will turn their back when they see that you're doing something completely different, and it kind of shifts, the dynamics, they change. But I said no. This is one thing in life that I want to do for myself, not for anyone else. And आज भी मैं बोलती हूँ कि I've written 6 books, but one day if I feel that artist in me doesn't have that art left anymore, maybe I'll figure something out, you know. I'm very fluid, I'm like a river. I always tell people I keep moving. So it could be something that can happen in the future. But right now, yeah, it's a good journey and I'm loving writing books, so yeah.
Thank you so much, Stuti. That was such an insightful answer. So I'll take away rebel with a cause and the bank balance as a takeaway from that answer. So you have talked about bank balance and the rebellious attitude. So I just want everyone, if you can share, that how was your journey when you started in 2017 and the recent book that published last year, Stars Will Guide You Home. How was your journey so far? Like when you published your first book that was self-published, and last year you worked with HarperCollins and get your book published. So if you have to describe your journey, and so that I'm sure everyone in the audience or whosoever will listen to it, they can get some sort of insights that how publishing industry works and what is the BTS of publishing industry or author.
Okay, so if in one word I have to say, journey has been crazy. And just like how an unorganized sector works, publishing is not something where the outcomes or the processes are so much defined. So of course, once you get selected by a good publisher, which kind of happened to me very late. So let me start with the honest part of the journey. I wrote my book and I tried reaching out to a lot of publishers and I did not get even no for an answer. That is how the story of any author who wants to get published in India for the first time is like, if you don't know anyone in the industry. So of course, I come from a place where none of my family members or anyone had any random connections to the literary world. In fact, for them to just listen to this, that Stuti wants to become a writer was kind of a shock. That, okay, ये कहाँ से आया? Because हम तो banker हैं, engineer हैं, कुछ और ही कर रहे हैं. Very mathematical, you know, math aligned sort of a family. तो मेरे लिए वो जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई जब मुझे कोई आंसर नहीं आया एंड आई सेड कि ओके आई सेल्फ पब्लिश माय बुक. So I think today anyone sitting here in the audience, if you become or want to become an author or publish your first book, the best part is that you have self-publishing as a big weapon in your arsenal. You don't really have to wait. Because see, people don't realize, but even time has some value attached to it. Sometimes just waiting for that one answer for 4 years will make you sulk so much that you will stop writing. Because now you're like, ठीक है कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है ना, मैं कुछ और figure out करता हूँ. Why do I even write a book? And I didn't want to go on that path. And that's the reason I said, no, I am going to self-publish my books. And that is how I self-published my first book on the open road in 2017. And very interestingly, I saw YouTube videos about how to sell from your home on Amazon, which is available in Hindi and English if anyone's interested. And I learned that to sell books, because books are a GST exempt category, all you need is a PAN card. कुछ नहीं चाहिए ऐसा कोई registration, sole proprietorship. No, you don't need a CA, nothing. You just need a PAN card and you can start selling books from the comfort of your home. Yeah? So if this helps anyone out there here. So I started selling those books from my home. And then first book, of course, it did okayish numbers. Yeah? And then second book, and then I met someone who told me that Stuti, if you're a writer, just don't think क्योंकि मेरी first book बिक नहीं रही है, मैं second book तो लिखूंगी ही नहीं. A lot of us wait, right? कि first book को validation मिलेगा, अच्छी चलेगी, फिर हम second लिखेंगे, फिर हम third लिखेंगे. See, it doesn't work like that. Publishing or being a writer, you should know, if you're an artist, if you're a creative person, you love writing, you write for yourself. Write it as a journal, as a diary, whatever, but keep writing. So I wrote my second book, You Only Live Once, and self-published it again, selling it from my home in 2020 now we are, because of course I wasted 2 years thinking कि जब first चलेगी तो second, please don't do that. And I can hear people laugh, that's cool. So 2020 में then I released this book and the great lockdown happened. Yeah. The only way for a self-published author is to sell through e-commerce, and now suddenly all these Amazons of the world are telling you that please don't sell non-essentials, सिर्फ खाने पीने की चीज़ बिकेगी. Yeah. So then again it was a huge setback कि खत्म है, end of the road है, अभी third तो लिखना ही है. But I wrote my third book, Where the Sun Never Sets, which is a story set in lockdown. And while I was writing this third book, 6 months later, when suddenly the lockdown lifted and things started selling, the second book became a rage on Amazon. And of course, in the meantime, I figured out how to use social media, again, another weapon in your arsenal. How do advertisings on these platforms work? Yes, you will have to do everything, because unless you place that book in front of minimum 5,000 people, you will never know the real feedback of the book. It's after 5,000 books that if a book picks up, it picks up because it's word of mouth. ये कंघी तेल का बिजनेस नहीं है कि इससे मेरे बाल लंबे हुए तो आपके भी हो जाएंगे. No. People will read books only a friend recommends to them, or when someone says that this book changed my life or this is valuable in some way. You are a book blogger, yeah? You do. So for me, that moment happened then when it suddenly picked up in 2019 and suddenly the story changed. Then I was approached by 3 publishers and I finally signed the deal, like the first 3 books with Penguin Random House. So now my first 3 books, On the Open Road, You Only Live Once and Where the Sun Never Sets, they are with Penguin Random House. And after these books did great, like we did cumulative numbers of 2 lakh plus, we've done it so far. Yeah? Because I'm telling you, 5,000 people that you can reach with advertising. But try and at least reach 5,000 people. Don't give up before that. हो सकता है negative में P&L होगा. You might be investing more than what's coming back to you. Yeah? That's the story. You don't hit your break even until your 3rd book. But if you're willing to give that fight, you should know how this thing works, how the math works. And then, of course, the HarperCollins deal happened where I released my 4th book, Stars Will Guide You Home, last year, and the other one is coming this year. In the meantime, I did an Audible original called Lost and Found, so it's just available as an audio book. And that's why, but it is counted because I did write that book, so it is a book. So that's how we come to 5 books, and I'm releasing the 6th one this year with HarperCollins again.
Thank you so much, Stuti. So resilience is the answer, and you should
Perseverance, resilience.
And that brings me to the question that is related to the book that we have. I read last year, Stars Will Guide You Home. This book talks about one thing that is relationship, and the another term that everyone is listening these days is AI, artificial intelligence. So my question to you would be, in this book, Nirvaan and Kiana are professionally accomplished yet emotionally unfulfilled. How does the novel interrogate conventional definitions of success and personal happiness?
Okay, so before answering this question, I'll tell you something about me, which I sort of realized with my 2nd book, which every author should if you write books. What is it that you want to be known for? Like, what's your voice about? Are you talking about women's rights? Are you talking about romance? Are you talking about, but just be clear, like, what's the genre and what is it that you consistently believe in and that message that you want to give to everyone. So I always say that I'm an author who's writing life-changing stories. So for me, whether I write a romance or a book that's at the intersection of, let's say, self-help and fiction, I would still want to consciously give something to the society and something contemporary, something relevant that can change people's lives. I want to talk about that idea because I feel that fiction has the power to connect with people at heart-to-heart level. So if you talk about AI at, let's say, a AI summit or at a corporate event, then of course it's a very technical conversation. And not that it's not an important conversation. Of course it is. But if you want to reach to the masses, and you make a story and you connect it with something as emotional as love, as something that everyone's experienced in their lives, then they get the idea better. So while it's a romance, it's a story of Kiana and Nirvaan, finding each other, it also asks a lot of questions about, how AI has impacted our lives on a day-to-day basis. So much so that you don't realize sitting here right now, but you turning up for this event could have been through something that's AI, yeah? Maybe the social media, they showed you a certain post because you kind of show interest, and so the AI knows before you know what you like, and so you were shown this, and that's the reason you're sitting in front of me. It could be true, yeah? So I really wanted to blend in those elements and then also tell a lot of people or make them aware. So my first book was about startups. Really, it's a story about friendship, it's a story about finding love, but at the heart of it, it's a story about 3 individuals starting up a company together. Because it was a time when a lot of people in India wanted to do something, they want to start up a company of their own, but when they would go to their parents and say, they'll be like, रहने दो, नहीं हो पाएगा, या तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, So, for me, it has been a very conscious and a deliberate choice to sort of make AI a part of their lives. And the second bit of the question was about the connection.
It was the definition of success and personal happiness. that how it challenges the conventional definition of success.
Okay, so my characters are always ending up finding themselves because self-discovery is a very close to heart sort of a theme of my books. So here the characters, they're professionally very accomplished, but somehow what I see a trend, especially with young people, is that people have made it very cool to be alone or, find that personal space. And while it is important, more than ever, people are lonely and they are seeking connections. So for them, I'm not going to give a spoiler and tell exactly what the story is about and how it kind of covers those points. But while they are getting connected through an AI-based app, true love, for it to stay, so it can help you connect for once. But to make that connection or live that connection, you need to put in real-time efforts into the relationship, and no AI can help you with that. So yeah, it kind of talks about that.
Thank you, Stuti. I love your spoiler-free answer, but I know because I read the book, but for the audience. So we are talking about AI, we are talking about relationships, and your first book talks about a startup, but on the core we have friends, right? And in this book also, we see reunion, right? So does the narrative frame their reunion as destiny, coincidence, or an act of deliberate emotional agency to our characters in this book?
Okay, so it's very complex as an answer because I'm not God, and who knows, what destiny is or how much of it is an effort that's happening. So in this book, if I have to answer from the perspective of Kiana and Nirvaan, actually it's a play of all of these things. So while they get connected to the app, I think the fact that they connect on the app or maybe sign up for the first time is because of destiny, because they find this app very individually and they are signing up and then connecting on that app. So it's a very complex answer for me as well, because it's a mix of everything at play. It's neither, I'd say, destiny and a deliberate act. It is both, a combination of both.
Okay, so basically mixed with destiny and deliberate attempt,
You have to make, see, you can't stop making attempts saying that destiny will take care of it. So I think it's a mix of both. Yeah, we still keep attempting, we still keep hoping, because we can't leave everything to destiny. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, why do we wake up every day and what do we look forward to? We just say, okay, destiny is going to take care of it. So I think it's very hard to bucket it in one of the categories. It's both of the things at work or at play.
Thank you. So this book talks about connections and AI, as we have talked about, that they both signed up and eventually they ended up being together. And when we talk about relationships, friendships, one thing that we really look up to is the compatibility, right? But one of the character in this book, despite she has the high compatibility, but she fails to sustain the relationship. Do you feel that was the attempt because of the artificial intelligence she was really looking up to, or there was something else she could have done better?
So the story talks about these characters first working on themselves and then kind of taking that leap of faith. So while the app connects them, the story talks about their side of the story, that until these characters have actually closed their past wounds or what they are going through, and they have recognized what their needs and patterns in a relationship are, they're not able to stay there for each other or just, say that, okay. So it's not the kind of love story, and that's something that I do very differently, Bindu. So it's not one of those rom-coms where you just meet someone and fall in love and then it's all roses and everything. I think for any true, authentic relationship to sustain, people need to show up consistently through good and bad times alike, and not just in romantic relationships. I'm sure, like, when you sit on the panel, there is one friend sitting in the audience, waving at you or helping you out. What's it there for them? Nothing. Maybe sometimes they're not even lit enthusiasts, but they just come to cheer you because they love you. And that's the kind of showing up that matters. Now, they might not turn up with a bunch of 50 roses, and it's irrelevant. It's immaterial. What matters is they show up as who they are. So here also, in this book, while the connection is made through the app, later on the entire story is about them reworking on their past or themselves, and then first connecting back with their authentic self, and then trying to make that connection and saying that, okay, I love you. Because I think it's the most misused word, like the amount of times we say, I love this, I love you, she loves me, I love you, but you love me. It's just overdone. Yeah, but how many times are we really showing up for someone who we really say that I love you or I care for you? So that's, and again, you've of course read the book, so you know that it's very different from how a general narrative of a love story is, and I wanted to deliberately bring that change. Also with my characters, especially female characters, I don't want to be the, damsel in distress, always waiting for this guy to arrive on a white horse and rescue her. Because when we were growing up, we were reading most of the literature that it had those stories. Yeah, they came our way, and somewhere subconsciously we got wired. And now if a guy is not being larger than life, we say, yaar, ye to mujhse pyar hi nahi karta, he doesn't love me. Yeah, but that's not true. Maybe his love language is different, his ways of showing up is different. So that's what my book challenges and does very differently as compared to any other love story that might come your way.
So I can, I will echo this thought and second this, because I read the book and I know that how you portray our female characters, especially in this book. And this book talks about demographically United States and India. You kept that dual settings in the book. So was it difficult for you, or how you have managed to have that emotional landscapes, identity and relation choices while you were working on these characters in the book, and keeping United States and India in your mind?
Okay, so I believe that world is largely becoming globalized, and people are not citizens of one place anymore. We are going towards a place where we are all becoming citizens of, one earth. And things like love, emotions, being heartbroken, it doesn't change depending on what your identity is. So it's not that if I come from the US or I come from South Africa, I've never had my heart broken, but because I'm in India, I've had that. Yeah, there are some themes, some emotions which are universal. So I wanted to bring that. There's also character Zeen, who's based in the US, who's actually the best friend of this Indian immigrant who's living there. And that is because they again connect irrespective of the fact that, what their gender is, what their caste is, whatever backgrounds they come from, because love is what kind of unites them. So it has been done on purpose. That's the idea. I generally don't even have surnames for my characters, because I don't want to, I don't want to bind them to a certain family name or something that they're coming with. I say everyone, when you're born, you're a new person with a name, your own identity, and you figure out things for you, irrespective of where you were really born or where you really come from. So that's the reason why I did that. And for me, it became a little easy because in 2022, I had a chance to live back in the United States for about 6 months. And I spoke to a lot of people there, like locals. And I came to this conclusion after speaking to them that there are some things which are universal. Okay, so they are also like maybe their mother is also nagging sometimes that you don't come home too often, and that's what's happening to us as well. It's not that it's so different. It's just the same everywhere, yeah? And of course, all the love to mothers. I love my mother very much, and I absolutely love her nagging.
So do I.
But yeah, it is there. So I wanted to bring that universality of emotions and everything, and so I've deliberately kept the setting. And again, it becomes more dramatic to find someone across 7 oceans. जैसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, 7 समंदर पार. So it's more dramatic to do that. And so yeah, of course I did that.
So I had this question in my head while I was reading this book. And this question I didn't prepare while I came to know that I'm going to have this session. That what was your thought that you didn't give the surnames to your characters? And thank God we are chatting today and I got to know the answer. So I have just only 2 questions left before we open up the session for our audience. So this book talks about relationships, resilience, artificial intelligence, and globally everything that is happening. And we are living in a world today that is a hyper-connected digital world, right? So why do the characters continue to experience profound loneliness, right? and what social commentary does this offer? As you have mentioned in one of your answers just now, that today when we say that I am alone, we have make loneliness is a new cool. And while everyone knows that within me, that is nothing cool, within me, we are just want an ear where we can literally say things, we can vent out, we can seriously share our things. So how do you see these things through the perspective of this book, Stars Will Guide You Home?
Okay, a brilliant question. So whenever we are on an app, okay, we're constantly chasing validation of some sort. And not just from people that don't know us, sometimes also from people who know us, our friends, people around us. So the culture overall has become in a way where we are doing things to show to others more than how we feel. So of course, if it's an anniversary date, rather than you and me enjoying the date, it's more about how we project that to people and if people think that we had a lot of fun. Yeah, it's our friend's birthday, but sometimes it's more convenient for us to share a reel that says happy birthday than really call them up or maybe go to their place with something, maybe a surprise that we don't document for social media later. How many of us are doing that? Yeah, it is changing, especially for the younger generation. And since these characters are very young, as if you see, they are in their very early 30s, but the story starts when they were in their teenage. Yes. So with the younger generation, this divide is again very high, where things are happening for the gram, for the internet, for showing to others. So I wanted to bring that for more and more people, that when they read this book, they say, okay, this is my story. And while these characters change their story, they say, no, we're not doing this anymore. I'm now going to show up. I'm not living for media anymore. So my readers also get that inspiration that, okay, if he can do this, I can also do this. This can be a way and this can be cool, right? And when I talk about loneliness in this particular book, it's because more than ever, now people will meet you, and sometimes if they're really opening up to you, they will tell you that they do feel lonely. Because with globalization, we move sometimes cities for jobs, we have to leave our families, and it was not so. Like, 50 years, 60 years back, Indians especially were very, very community-driven sort of individuals. For years, different generations would be prospering in the same home, but now people are leaving those homes. So everybody's constantly seeking for this home, and they're not finding it anywhere. So this book also talks about the fact that in today's world, you will have to find or build that home for yourself first within you. Yes. When you say that, okay, this is something I love to do as a kid, but I'm not doing anymore. I do that and I feel that sense of connection with who I was or what I really loved doing before the internet told me that the only cool thing was to post online. Yeah. So of course it's a social commentary, and I am someone who doesn't believe in preaching, because I think if I'll tell this to someone via a non-fiction book, the generation today is such that you can't be a sage on the stage. You have to be a guide by their side. So they want to experience, fail, learn, and grow. Gone are the days when we were just reading books and following everything. Yeah, everyone wants to have their own story. Yes. So when they find this emotional connection with the characters and who are experiencing loneliness while they are themselves experiencing loneliness, maybe when the characters find the answers to that, I kind of hope that my readers would also find that.
Thank you. So to summarize the answer, ChatGPT is not the answer for every questions that we are seeking in our life.
Yes, call that friend that you haven't in many days. If it's a relative who really cared about you when you were young, maybe took you for your yoga classes or sports events, I don't know. It could be any person that has been missing from your life for a very long time. That teacher that you met for the first time, let's say in primary school, and who told you that, wow, you're so good at this, pursue this. This is, and it changed your life in some way. Go back and connect with all of those people. Those real life connections are much more meaningful, and they matter a lot more than, having a few followers or seeking that validation online all the time. It's a very lonely journey. It's better to believe in the power of real connections and show up. If you don't show up, those connections are not going to be those connections. Then it's just there in your head. But if you're not showing up for the other person, the relationship is practically non-existent.
True. Thank you so much, Stuti, for this wonderful answer. And before I open up to the audience today, my last question to you is, if you have to summarize your book in 3 words, or in, let me rephrase it. Okay. If someone has not read your book so far, why someone should pick your book? And you have to give me the answer in just 3 words. Take 4. I won't mind.
Okay. It's a feel-good, life-changing read. I don't know. 4 words are like very less. That's the best I can come up with right now.
Cool. So, answer is feel good.
A feel-good, life-changing read.
Yeah. And I
5
will
words.
also, I can give you one, inspiring,
Yeah, inspiring, of course.
because I read it. So thank you so much, Stuti, for your time, and thank you so much for our lovely audience.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Wh-
Talk about perseverance. So have you ever thought of being a motivational speaker? Because you come across, you can easily connect with the youngsters.
Volunteers, please be quick with the mic.
It was very interesting listening to you, Stuti. So congratulations on all the effort and all the work which you've done till now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because listening to you, I could figure out, that your perseverance is one of the strong qualities which you have in you. Being so young, I mean, yes, comparatively. So, did you ever give it a thought of being a motivational speaker for people, youngsters? Because, I have young kids myself, who are, of course, now graduates and postgraduates. But I feel, like you said, loneliness is a part of it. The way, the way you talk about encouraging them to continue, not give up. So that is one bit which I would like, try and connect with the youngsters these days. How about giving that a thought?
I really loved it and thank you so much. I think more than a question, it's a beautiful feedback that I'd like to take, and I do love speaking, ma'am. Like, I go to places and do connect and talk to a lot of young students as well from schools and colleges. But yeah, I'm not doing that so much, I'd say professionally, enthusiastically so far. But with this feedback, I know that maybe this is another direction that I should definitely take, and maybe if it impacts a life or two, why not? So thank you, ma'am. That really means a lot. Thank you.
Do we have... yes, please.
Yes. Hi, Stuti. I really had a lovely time listening to you. And I come from the publishing industry myself, so I was actually able to resonate with a lot of things that you are saying. My best takeaway from your session was that you actually talked about the real struggles that writers face, like not listening back from publishers and waiting endlessly for your first big break. Yes. And that is a very empowering and transformative journey. Coming right to the question, when you were going through your transformative phase, what was that one piece of advice that you received from a friend or a mentor that struck with you, and you turn to that advice even today, now that you're successful?
Very interesting. So someone once told me that if you believe in an idea, you will have to talk about it. So if you're shy and you don't talk about that idea often, it cannot reach to many people. So sometimes when I started, especially, I used to feel that I was very shy about talking. I used to think कि सबको पता तो है, मैं नया क्या ही बता दूंगी. Like, what's the new thing that I'm saying? Maybe they know it already. So me just reiterating or saying it again, and I was very shy to maybe come on the stage and speak, or maybe speak in front of the camera. So he said कि you will have to talk about your idea yourself, and even if it counts as shameless marketing, you will have to do, because if a person doesn't believe in their idea enough or talk about that idea enough, why would anyone else care to do that for you? So I think that advice has stayed with me in the longest time, and I do not shy away from speaking about something I truly believe in, because I feel if I will talk about it, others will too. So
wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, and I look forward to reading your book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do we have anyone? Yes. Here, this side. To my right.
Dearest Stuti, you got me here. So you just told about showing up. And honestly, it was because of you I thought to come to this event. And it's such a wonderful event. Thank you so much, first of all. And
Thank you.
congratulations for your book. I believe this is what real customer experience and maybe acquisition is all about. When you get a customer to another place, because I am an HR, I believe in that as well. And what I related with you, Stuti, was the journey that you spoke about. How, from a self-publisher, you today probably is amongst the leading publishing house. It takes a lot to self-publish a book. I have done that, almost 10 years back when I was just probably 18 years ago. And it was one of the boldest books. Today, I'm republishing it. But the journey when you self-publish a book, it requires a lot of patience, perseverance, and courage. If your groundwork is so solid, as ma'am very clearly said, you can be a very good motivational speaker. I mean, you actually have that aura to motivate people. And this is something which is not clearly visible, according to me, with everybody. So congratulations, and thank you so much for at least opening that door that I came to Delhi Literature Festival, and it's a beautiful and profound evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That really means a lot.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi Stuti, I'm Sukhjeet, and I write a lot, but I do perform as a storyteller. So we have always learned about the nav rasa, the emotions which we have. So I just want to know, which is the hardest emotions to write as a writer?
Okay. I think pain. When you talk about pain, sadness, loneliness, and all of it, I think comes in the same universe. It is a little tough to write about it because every time you will touch that nerve, you will feel that shift in your body. बोलते हैं ना गला भर जाता है, आंखें भर जाती हैं, and you remember the time of your life when this thing happened to you, or someone said that to you, or that maybe you were looked down upon, or anything. So you have to navigate that first for yourself, and only then you can write. But again, they say, right, that healing is not linear. It keeps coming back. So when you're writing it again, you're going to experience the same emotions again. And it's very hard to do that. Sometimes you will bleed on paper. Like you will be crying your heart out because you're talking about something which has happened to you. But that's the reason so many other people will also connect, because they have been there too. So I think that is one of the hardest emotions, that whole universe, to write about, and still we do that, and it's very liberating. It's a very liberating experience. So finally, when you've written it and it gets out of your system, even if nobody read it or heard it, you just feel किसी ने सुन लिया और कोई है मेरे साथ. And that's why I think for the longest time, diaries have been that companion or that friend on our journeys, where you can just be yourself, vent it out, and it just feels so amazing. Like it's liberating.
That means it happened with you.
Yeah, it has, of course. Like I told you, when she asked about that question, you wrote about characters from 2 different countries. But I said, yeah, but just because you came from a different country doesn't mean that you didn't have a bad day or somebody never looked down on you. We've all been through that, so yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Stuti.
Hi.
Thank you for the session. It was really insightful. And as the gentleman said that he came from another city to be here, so same here. I came from Dehradun to be here today and see you. And thank you that you are open to a follower. So I'm your Instagram follower, and you are open to me talking to you about my book. So thank you so much. So as a first-time writer, I want to know that how do you approach writing? Like, are you a regular writer, a part-time writer, full-time writer, or do you write when you're happy, sad? How do you approach it?
Okay, so in the beginning, I was doing a lot of freelance, and that I said a lot of other things as well, because of course you need to pay the bill. We started with a zero bank balance when we started this conversation. So yeah, but that was a thing of the past. For the last 3 to 4 years, I have been majorly just writing, because now that the first 3 books are doing well, then I had these 2 coming up. So you have certain advances and you can take care of yourself. Yeah, it goes upward after some point. But again, it depends from person to person, that what your individual needs are and what your financial goals are. So have that clearly set in your mind when you start off writing books, that where is it that you see, okay, until where can you really invest? Because I also spoke about, the balance being negative initially when you're heavily invested in your Excel sheet, and you're heavily invested in your efforts as well at the same time to make this book work. Now coming to the answer, how much can you write? It all depends on how much you own your time. Yeah. So when I was doing all of that, I didn't have so much time. So these books, between books, I had a break of, let's say, a year and a half or even 2 years, because there are different things. I need to make ends meet. It's not just I'm writing a book. Yeah. It's a creative career. It's not yet so flourished that I'm just making so much money. So I was okay, but I was regular at that time also, whether that, even if little bit time I could take out after my freelance assignments and all of that, I would focus on my book. Now in the last 2 to 3 years, especially with this new book that came with HarperCollins, I dedicated a lot of time to writing, and the rest now I dedicate to, talking about it, promoting it, speaking about it at various platforms. So people also get to know about my work. So it changes. This journey, you can't define it. It will also be, the only thing that there is a constant companion is your resilience or your perseverance. But it's a changing, ever-changing journey. So it, depending on where you are on this journey, you will find time to do your creative work. Because if you have bills to pay, yeah, can you dedicate all your time just writing? No. So it's a very complex answer, and the answer will depend, or the answer will differ for everyone sitting here. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, a very practical answer. That's what Bindu said.
Yes. Anyone else? It is all written in the stars. Stars will guide you home always. Thank you for this beautiful conversation. Can we have a huge round of applause? And we are delighted to present a token of appreciation to both of you as a small gesture of gratitude for sharing the stories, your time and thoughts with us today. I request Ms. Sonali to come on stage and present the memento and do the honors. Yes.